All right, everybody. I, you know, I wasn't going to, but I guess I'll play a couple more things. Just be fun to do. Actually, CookChihi got back to me on YouTube a little bit, and I guess did some work on Forgotten Wooded Area. Wanted to know how I felt about it, so I just thought, hey, it'd be fun to revisit and just see what changes were made and everything, and how that worked out, if it you know helped it out at all, or maybe I've got bad advice. That's like that's actually more possible than anything else. So we're back with Forgotten Wooded Area by CookChihi. I'll link the playthrough of the earlier version as well. Why not? Forgotten Wooded Area is a short horror comedy game about being forgotten and moving on. Set in March 2014 and based off 2009 animation memes, play as Stray as they try to figure out the strange world they live in. So we're going to go ahead and run this game. So already, look at this. We've got we've got a different look. Originally it was sort of default sugar cube, which, like I said, that's totally fine. One thing I noticed is that the UI bar is gone, which is cool. I mean, if you use it, cool. But if you don't use it, then So already it's got a different look, and it's we got some good hover effects here that are kind of cool. A little fade there. So already I can tell a lot of work has been put into this, which is great. That's awesome. So let's go ahead and start off with the reading here. Also, if you notice, I have a pop filter now, so I won't have the plosives on my mic all the time, which I know is not fun, especially when I'm laughing and just breathing into the mic. I could be a lot more professional than I am. So anyway, by the way, my name's Fia Gloss. I don't think I said that. Speaking of professionalism. Anyway, you woke up with a cloudy vision and a splitting headache. You looked around. You were in a wooded area, lots of trees. No sign of life. You look at your paws. They had writing on them. Your left paw had something on it, but you couldn't read it. It looked as if it were smudged, like ink on paper. You looked at your right paw. It said character name, age, species, scrapped concept. You didn't have a name. Or you do, but you just don't remember it. You thought of one, though. You decided to call yourself Stray. There was no point in just sitting around, so you got up and looked around the woods. This was your home now. So already a different start from the last one. Ooh, cool. Yeah, and now we've got some images in here. That's awesome. If you got them, you use them, right? So anyway, this is already a different start, and it's like, oh, I kind of already like it better. The original version, you were sort of started, and there was just a quick thing, and it was just like, you're here because you saw a picture on your phone, and it was like, okay, well, who am I? What am I doing? Why did I just go out because of a picture on my phone? Anyway, already liking this. So you looked around for about an hour, nothing. No one so far, and you were starting to get hungry. You were starting to get pissed too. You were not going to resort to acorns for a meal. You sniffed around for a couple of minutes and finally picked up a scent, meat. You ran towards the smell. You were unaware that you were going too fast and you tripped over something. The small dog shaked off his yellowish fur angrily. Here we got a little picture. Hey, what the hell are you doing running around Forgotten Wood like that? Making all that unnecessary noise. Are you trying to wake up the entity? God. Why were you just lying there? So, yeah. This is my favorite spot. Very comfy. Nice dirt. By the way, I've never seen you before. Are you new? What's your name? All right, we'll go ahead and give our name. Stray. Stray. What a weird... Oh, Stray. Weird name. Whatever. I've heard worse. I'm Ember. Welcome to Forgotten Wood. I can show you around. You accepted and looked around for an hour. Ember showed you dens, places to nap, and a small squirrel carcass. You lifted your nose to the familiar meat smell from earlier and ran straight to the carcass. Before you engulfed the small creature, you looked at them to check if they were safe to eat. A static sound came from the squirrel's mouth and it made you jump. You looked at Ember and asked if that was normal. Don't worry, they just make that sound when they die for some reason, Ember said in a cheerful tone of voice. Oh, I'm good. Good thing I chose to say that way then. It's safe to eat. You know what? Let's eat the squirrel. You tried to take a bite, but instead you got electrocuted and jumped. Oh, I'll give it to the entity then. Actually, I'll give it to my friend. Whose entity? Man, you ask so many questions. I get that you're new, but God. We'll worry about it later. By the way, here's a whistle in case you get in trouble. I'm not saying that you will, but just in case. All right. You followed Ember to a small den. It had moss and little pebbles surrounding it. Ember threw the static squirrel into the den, and a couple seconds later you heard crunching. After a few minutes, you heard a belch, and the squirrel's skeleton came flying to your face with a loud crackle. You heard Ember snicker as he crept inside the den. Let's follow Ember, why not? You curled up next to Ember. Soon after, a cat curled up next to you. You all drifted to sleep. You woke up outside of the den to something heavy on your chest. You probably sleepwalked. Something sharp was digging into your skin. Your eyes snapped open to see a fox-like creature standing on top of you. Rest aside, they were still as a statue. They couldn't be alive. Maybe Ember and his buddy were tricking you because you're new. Then the creature blinked. Your heart skipped a beat. The entity. All right, so let's running seems like it's not going to go well. Before we fought the entity, let's just play dead. You played dead, mouth wide open with your tongue lolling out. We're literally playing dead. So, sorry, I zoned out for a second. I was gonna say, I noticed more of this link replace stuff going on, which is super cool. I liked the parts in the original story that had this. It just, like I said, I don't know. It's, with the Twine game, it's kind of hard to make it feel really, well, not interactive, but just to feel like to build tension and things like that, because it is a lot of just reading. And I think with this, you kind of, are, at least me naturally when I'm reading, I tend to like also want to like kind of peek at what's coming. So anyway, Entity raised their paws and smacked you across the face. Tears started to roll down your cheeks. Entity grabbed you by the scruff, pulling you to their den. You quickly slapped away their paw and ran inside the den. Ember ran to you. What the fuck? He suddenly got cut off by the entity outside the den, slamming their whole body against the rocks. You looked over to where Ember was standing, struggling to stay still. To see a small black cat with red markings and a collar. The cat was trembling. After a while, the slamming died down. You heard a loud, exhausted groan and heavy footsteps walking away from the den. Ember sighed with relief. Suddenly, you heard a loud bang. Rocks came down and your vision went black. You were unconscious. You woke up away from the den. Your face was numb and you tried to rub your eyes. You couldn't feel anything because of the numbness. You were near a river. You took a sip of the running stream of water, static and electrocution. You jumped. Was the world you were living in even real? Your thoughts were disrupted by a loud scream. Ember. You tried to get up, but your leg was asleep. You got up anyways and sprinted to where the noise was coming from. You limped to one side for a while. You reached a cave with a trail of blood leading into it. Okay, this time, so last time we did get a whistle, and I was sort of surprised that we never actually used the whistle, so I feel like maybe well, okay. So Ember gave us the whistle. And when Ember gave me the whistle, I presumed that it was to get help from Ember. I never really thought that maybe this whistle is to summon something else. And since we're going in to help Ember, it makes sense to me that blowing the whistle to get help from Ember is not exactly going to be helpful. But let's just go in because that's how I feel about it. I'm going to go with my initial interpretation. You walked into the cave. Nothing much. Just a bunch of dead animals and blood. Blood making weird static noises. It was getting annoying. You accidentally stepped in some blood. Electrocution. You broke out into a sprint and ran forward. More guts, static blood, and some weird-looking rocks. You came to a sudden halt. One of the rocks looked like a dog. You picked it up and kept it close. For some reason, you felt like you'd seen this rock before. Maybe. Probably not. I feel like I have. You walked at a normal pace, looking for Ember and that weird-looking cat. This cave was unnecessarily big. You soon found an old vintage camera. It was brown and dusty. You blew on it, and the dust went everywhere. You coughed up a storm. Let's look through the camera. You looked through the camera. There was a picture of a dog. You kept going through the pictures. Beautiful pictures of fields. Oh, okay, it's like a digital camera. Beautiful pictures of fields, flowers, and drawings. You looked at one of the drawings. It was a picture of Entity, Ember, and the cat. You felt fuzzy inside. Somehow this drawing gave you a sense of comfort. Maybe the Entity wasn't some deranged feral animal. Maybe you had it all wrong. Well, let's keep the camera. You put the camera strap around your neck. Oh, that seems like maybe it's a bad idea, but we'll go with it. And continued your search. You heard something crawling towards you. You quickly halted. It was Ember and the cat limping towards you. Hey, did you see Entity anywhere? They hurt us pretty badly, but we hid. They said they were looking for you. Said they'll kill you. Said that there were too much of you guys. You shook your head at Ember. Too much of you? Great. Let's get out of here. You all turned around and quickly ran towards the entrance, but suddenly you were pinned to the ground by something heavy. Entity had pinned you to the ground. You were about to be a chew toy. So, we have a camera now that shows that maybe we're not interpreting things correctly, that Entity might not be like a malevolent entity, just whole cloth. So, I'm going to go ahead and just run. Okay, that didn't work out for me. Entity stomped on your leg. You screamed in terrible pain. Ember and his friend cringed, and you heard them hiss their teeth. They couldn't help because they were already hurt badly. That would be a death wish. Well, let's just fight. All right, so we got a picture of Entity. Oh, cool. It's almost like unknown entity won't hesitate, bitch. So cool. Like, I gotta say, I'm really liking all the pictures and everything. It's making the story a lot more fun. So anyway, we got like a whole battle system going here. All right, so got our leg stepped on, so that might not be good, but let's test. Oh, okay. Dodged my attack. Kick. Stumble. Bite. Unknown entity looked at you in disgust. Disgust. It's misspelled real quick. But let's punch again. Punch once more. Oh, bit my tail off. Oh, geez. Sorry, I should be reading all this. Lost 10 health, close to death. Kick once more. Huh, why is this blue? How did that happen? Throw a rock. Unknown entity got knocked out. You can escape. Ember signaled for you to run. You all reached the den. Suddenly you fell over. Exhausted, you all curled up together. By the way, that's super cool, like a little battle system thing in there. I'm not sure how it works. if it's sort of random or if you've actually like created a little like labyrinth of things that you can do. Um, but that's super cool. It's also kind of breaks it up a little bit because this was described now as a horror comedy, and some of the comedic elements make a lot more sense now. Before, when in the first version of the game, I wasn't really sure um, how serious things were, and like characters would sort of be jovial and irreverent, and I was like, oh, okay, is this supposed to be like this, or am I just dealing with like really strange weirdos in the woods? But this is more explicit about it and having a little like I want to say Pokemon style, but that just makes me sound old or something. But like, it kind of that's what it reminds me of. So we'll go with it. But it's just like a little like now we're in a random battle. Like it's super cool. Love it. Anyway, you all reached the den. Suddenly you fell over. Exhausted, you all curled up together and drifted to sleep. Ember sighed softly. Entity, Chloe, my old friend, we're sorry. You all woke early the next morning to leave Forgotten Wood. Ember explained why everything was static, how how to water moved, how the water moved, and everything else that happened. He told you the truth about Forgotten Wood. He called it the trash bin. Nothing was real. It all just went according to code. Your creator didn't like you and threw you out. Thought you were trash, but it's okay, Ember, the cat named Red, and you, Stray. We're going to find a new place to call home. As you walked away from the Forgotten Wood, you heard the bushes rustle. Ember and Red ignored the noises as if they had cotton in their ears. You kept walking until you heard a click. You turned around to see something in the bushes following you. It was a fox-like creature with a vintage camera around their neck, taking pictures while following you and your friends. They were also looking for a new place to live. You allowed them to follow you, unless they tried anything sneaky. Time for a fresh start. So, okay. So Forgotten Wooded area is just sort of like this woods of this wooded area. It's like it's in this ending anyway, it's like the recycling bin. It's like all these scrapped old ideas just kind of thrown aside, which helps kind of contextualize kind of how weird and surreal some of the things are, that it's like um discarded ideas or whatever. So that's cool. I now actually kind of feel like I have more context on what the Forgotten Wooded area is. So, um, just with my first playthrough here, I'll probably do another full playthrough just to try a couple different things and see what happens. But the the end feels a little rushed. Um, and so maybe some of that could maybe like be like some of the like reveals, I guess. How do I want to put this? Like the part, I guess I would just maybe it's not rushed. Maybe it's just it feels rushed because of how it's written. Where Ember is basically like, all right, I'm just gonna explain everything now, and then by the way, this is what Forgotten Wooded area is, and now we're leaving. It kind of if it feels rushed, but maybe it isn't actually rushed in the sense that like these parts need to be longer, but maybe there could just be a couple parts earlier where you get maybe a little more hint about the nature of where you are. And maybe I just missed it, but it's like I have like a digital camera with pictures on it and I kept it and it didn't, I don't know, maybe I missed the part where you'd be using it, but sometimes it feels just kind of like a lot of loose ends that are just left and discarded a little bit. Um, but I think having some of those is cool because it's like unanswered questions are what makes something interesting. It's just you have to give people enough to chew on. So, um, but yeah, so maybe like sprinkle a couple clues about forgotten wooded area throughout the game, and now that I'm starting over and it says scrapped idea, it's kind of like, oh, cool. Oh, I see. So blue is visited. Well, that's helpful. That's super cool. So I answered, that I'd rather not say, or oh, it's okay. You're new, so I'll go easy on you. Oh wait, you're new. I've never seen you before. What's your name? Rather not say. Fine. What should I call you then? Anything. I'll call you Fluffy. Fine, it's Stray. That's funny. So let's not eat the squirrel this time. Fine, suit yourself. I'll just give this to my buddy. Ember swiped the squirrel away from you and skipped away happily, tail wagging. Buddy, there's more than just this canine and some prey. You followed Ember and tried to copy his weird skip thing. Instead, you fell over and almost chipped a tooth as you did. Ember turned around and he helped you to your paws. Maybe you should just walk normally. There are more dogs? Nope, I'm the only dog. I'm also the only sane one, apart from you. All right. So we'll sleep outside. And this time we'll fight. You tried to punch the entity, but instead they got a hold of your arm and twisted it. They yanked your arm more and more until it was in a weird position. Oh, well, I'm doing really well, guys. You screeched in pain, but the entity just covered your mouth. No one could hear you scream. Run. All right, we kick the entity off. Even though some of these choices aren't really choices because the game sort of is like, no, try again. I actually don't really mind that at all because the a twine game is really just giving you the illusion of a choice. And well, all games really only give you the illusion of a choice. And so I don't really mind it when the game's kind of like, nah, because the game had already decided that that was something that I would get to decide. And some of these things, you end up places and you're just reading about it in a paragraph. So I don't really mind the choices that don't matter. I just would maybe take it to a different place and not just back to the same thing where it's like, yeah, no, instead of then dumping me back to my original choice. Maybe just have a little more like flavor text and then it's a new thing. I don't know. It's fine the way it is now. So it doesn't really matter. That's a minor thing. But let's blow the whistle this time. You blew the whistle. You heard the cheerful barking in reply. He was definitely in that cave. Okay, cool. So maybe that part, if you wanted to extend that part any, maybe you could have um a part where there's like a couple different cave entrances or like you're at a fork in the path and then you blow the whistle to find out which direction to go. That could be kind of cool. Like a little or like you enter the cave and the cave splits off in different directions so you keep blowing the whistle to find where Ember is and it can be like a little puzzle almost if you wanted to do something like that. That could be totally cool. Let's not keep the camera this time. You put down the camera and continued your search. You heard something crawling towards you. Right, right. Let's fight. Yeah. So let's bite first. Okay, I see. Punch again. Kick. And then throw the rock. Let's run. Okay, cool. So, like I assumed, I think there is just kind of one ending to it. And this is kind of like a cool little, it feels kind of like a little exploration of this strange world. And the ending, they're going off to a fresh start. It's like this could be like a fun little series of games almost, I feel like, of just like I'm getting into the Forgotten Wooded Area lore or whatever. We've got the entity Chloe or whatever. It's it's kind of cool. It's like this is gonna sound like I mean it in a derogatory way, but it's kind of like I don't mean it in a derogatory way. It's kind of like lifting up a rock and you see all the bugs and everything that are under there. It's kind of like that, where it's like you get to pick up this rock that was once just this clean part of the background, and you lift it up, and then all of a sudden under it there's like all these little nooks and crannies and things, living their lives and creating its own little world under there. And that's kind of what Forgotten Wooded Area feels like to me. And especially more so with this second one, this second go at it, where it feels like I'm getting to see this random strange world. And, I did look through CookChihi's Tumblr and Instagram a little bit initially when I was trying to figure out a good way to let them know I did my first playthrough. And, it's like just looking at the Instagram or the Tumblr, and I'm an old man, so bear with me here. I'm just looking at it like, oh, cool, some drawings. Like, oh, cool, this CookChihi did some drawings. That's neat. But now, like, Forgotten Wooded Area is this ability to see like what the context of all these drawings and how they interact, or at least in one way that they're imagined. And that's super cool. So Forgotten Wooded Area, you got a special place in my heart for sure. I think this one is like literally, I mean, this one is literally twice as strong as the previous one. And like now we're getting into like, this is like a true, real, I mean, this is, but saying it's real, it was always real. Okay. But this is like getting into like, you know, I've played Twine games made by people that, do it professionally, I guess you would say. Like they're, very well respected, educated people. And I didn't have half as much fun playing those as I did Forgotten Wooded Area. And Forgotten Wooded Area is like just this fun little world of strange characters. And so I'm excited. I'm excited to see what the fresh start would be, And if CookChihi doesn't want to make another Forgotten Wooded Area, that's cool too, because I'm totally down for whatever next strange world there is too. So really, I think this is such a huge improvement. It warms my heart a little bit to see some of the things I suggested make an appearance in this. That's touching for me. It's kind of cool to see somebody like take to heart things that you thought would make their their art better. And so I think that's super cool. I think this is such a huge improvement. And, I'm excited to see what else CookChihi's got cooking in the head there, So anyway, I'm Fia Gloss. I didn't think I was going to do the YouTube thing. I'm kind of a weird private person in some ways. So, but this is fun and people seem to enjoy it. People have not told me my voice is annoying, which is interesting. So who knows, guys? Maybe this is the start of the new thing. Maybe CookChihi gave me the push that I needed to do something that people enjoy and that I enjoy. So anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. This was Forgotten Wooded Area. I want to say like, Forgotten Wood Area Gaiden or something, like take 2. It's a lot. It's so much. it's such a professional looking thing now. It's such a cool CookChihi put a lot of work into this. So I'm really loving it. I'm really loving all the work that was put into this. It was treated like a loving product, and that's great. So link will be in the description. Check it out for yourself. Give it a read. See if you can find something I didn't find. Like let's do it. It's super cool. So I see that it's a submission to another jam. So hopefully people kind of see people take the time to look at what's so cool about this. So anyway, thanks guys. I guess I'll see you in the next one. Why not? Let's do it.